ho, ho. Merry Christmas, boys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. And yes, it is Christmas, the joyous time of the year. And today's episode is not going to be your traditional 1 hour episode. At least I'm not planning it to be. This is just going to be a little talk about Christmas, and then we're going to get into a review. And the film that we're reviewing, rather, is a Christmas classic. I mean, it's probably regarded as one of the best Christmas movies of all time, and it is none other than the classic A Christmas Story from 1983. And you watch that film, and all you can think about is your childhood. And I decided to reflect on my childhood as far as Christmas is concerned, because past couple of years, I guess since I've gotten older, since I've gotten children of my own, Christmas doesn't have the same oomph. If you know what I'm saying. If you're of a certain age, do you feel that same way? I'm, or is it just me? I just honestly don't care. Now, as far as the meaning of Christmas, the reason for the season, that's one thing. That's something different. You know, yeah, of course I celebrate that. But as far as the hanging up the lights, putting up the tree, getting all excited Christmas morning, jumping under the tree, grabbing presents and throwing Christmas wrapper all over the place, that been left. that left about 20 years ago for me. But I was still holding on to the joy of getting something for Christmas. I'll throw little shots out there and say, I really could use such and such, or I really could use this. I wouldn't mind having that. I'll throw little subtle hints out there. Sometimes I get a bite. Other times I don't. So, you know, uh, as of late, I just don't care. And it really started this year. Now, last year I had a little list. I did. And normally, the fam, we like the start of December, or maybe we even start in November, comprising a list of our wants for Christmas. At least in our house, it was very early, because we got to save up, and because we po folk around here, so we got to save up and go get those gifts, because my children, God bless them, it is it is nothing cheap when it comes to my kid. It's all electronics. It's nothing. We've been past the baby doll stage. My daughter, um if God says the same, next week she'll be 21 years old. Uh, so technically, she'll be an adult, but she won't be. And my youngest daughter is 19, and so we're not. They're out the kiddie stage, but the expensive stuff I don't even remember a Christmas where it was just baby dolls and toys and stuff. It was always Xbox, um, Nintendo Switch, iPhones, Beats, iPads or iPods or laptops, and it was always something big for Christmas. And man, I'm so relieved this year. Nobody really asked for nothing. Now, I think it's because we're going on vacation, and everybody's focused on the vacation. Uh, Next week, or the week of Christmas, or the week after Christmas, rather. So everybody's focused on the vacation, and rightfully so, because that's not cheap. So I think it was the sacrifice, but nobody really had a want, and I didn't. This year was the first year I honestly did not want a thing. I didn't want nothing. I don't even want a gift card. I don't want nothing. All I want for Christmas is to spend time with my family, and that's it. Because for the past couple of years, it's been separation because both of my daughters are in college now. And so the house has relatively been empty. We're empty nesters now, me and my wife. So I just want to be with my family for Christmas or for whenever we can get together. And this is one of the rare times of the year where we're around each other for a large period of time. We'll see each other, every other weekend or something like that. But we'll see one and not the other, and we'll go to the other one school and spend a little time with her, and then come back home for a day or two and stuff like that. But for a long period of time, this is the time, and we're going to take advantage of that. And that's what I want for Christmas. That's what we're getting for Christmas, and I'm happy. And so, as far as me getting a new phone or a pair of shoes or something, I don't want all that. But I started thinking back just a couple of weeks ago because I was getting ready to do this show, and I wanted to talk about Christmas, but I really didn't have much to talk about. I didn't have a particular subject to talk about, as far as current events is concerned. I was struggling because Christmas didn't have that same feel as it has in years prior. So I really started thinking about years prior. And to go along with the film that we're going to review, how Ralphie in that film wanted that Red Rifle BB gun, or the Red Ryder BB gun, whatever it was called. I remember one year when I was younger, and I want to say I was maybe 7 or 8, around that range, right? And I was really into Voltron. And for everybody who don't know what Voltron is, it was a cartoon back in the 80s. And they had the lions, right? These mechanical lions that the pilots sat in, and they can join together and become one big robot. And it was Voltron. And I always wanted this Voltron toy. And they had one that was like, it was real metal. This thing was big. It was huge. I would say around that time, I might have been 3 feet tall. I don't know how tall I was because I'm not too far removed from that now. But the thing was so big, it like went up to my knees, man. It was just a big Voltron, and it comes apart. You have the lions and stuff. You can put them back together. It was like a dream. And you can imagine it wasn't cheap because those toys back then, the toy makers put a lot of love and dedication into those toys. Not so much now. When I look around the stores now, the toy, everything looks the same. It's really not like it used to be. They had a whole toy store dedicated to toys. Toys R Us and KB Toys and, all those toy stores, different type of toys. Now, like if you go to Walmart or something, it's one aisle. One aisle of toys, and it's like whatever. It's just stuff thrown in there. And nothing looks good. Nothing looks fun to play with. At least to me. If I was a kid nowadays, man, it'll be depressing. Of course, kids these days, they don't play with toys. They want the big stuff. They want the PlayStation 5s. They want the Xbox 560s. They want cell phones. It nothing to really put your imagination to work. And that's what we had. Those of us who grew up in my generation, in the 80s and the 90s, we had to use our imagination. Now, I'm pretty sure kids use their imagination these days, but it's not like we did, man. We had to make up stuff on the fly. We made toys out of sticks and stuff. But anyway, look, I'm getting away from the story. The Voltron thing. And like I said, it wasn't cheap. And I don't know what the price was. Of course, around that time, I didn't care. I just wanted, I begged my mom for that toy. Begged my mom and my dad. But you know, my dad, he referred it to my mom, of course, because she was in charge of all that. So my mom being my mom, of course, she let me know straight off the bat, you're not getting that. You're not getting that. And boy, you want to talk about crush. I like, man, I want that toy. And that Christmas, went under the tree, peeling all them toys away. And it was a systematic thing at my house. You know, you couldn't just go grab a toy or grab a present and go to open it. Oh, open that one first. Now open that one. Now open that. That's how it went. So first I got the lame gifts. It was the lame ones first. I'm like, what is this? This is what I'm getting. What is this? One year my mom gave me a Bible for Christmas. I kid you not. And I still got that. I still have it. I think it's at her house. Still have that little Bible. And that was a that was a Christmas gift. But I think that year that's the same year I got a Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken. But that was the first gift I had to open. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, oh man, this is because it was in the little box that the old Nintendo game cartridges were, like the same size. It wasn't in the cartridge, but it looked like it was the same size as that. So I'm like, oh man, this is the game? So open it up. It's the Holy Bible with my name engraved in it. So she spent some money on it because my name is engraved on the cover of that Bible. Anyways, so I went through all those gifts and I got to the last one, and it was, to my shock and surprise, the Voltron toy. And man, I was happy as a feline. I could not, you could not imagine the excitement. That was the greatest gift I ever received on Christmas. And I'm 43, I'm going on 44 years old. I think. How old am I? Yeah, I'm going on 44 years old. And I cannot remember a Christmas gift so epic as that Voltron. Oh man, I played with that thing. Now the rule was I couldn't take it out the house, of course, because they spent a pretty penny on it. And so I'm playing with it, and the thing was heavy. I didn't realize how heavy it was. I mean, it was made out of real metal or steel, whatever it was, but it was real. I mean, that thing was heavy. And I'm playing with it and all day, the whole Christmas day. I didn't care about nothing else. I had received other gifts, but I didn't care. I did not care. I wanted to play with that. And I had to go to the bathroom or something. I forgot what it was that I had to go through. And I put the Voltron on the table, but I put it at the edge of the table. When I went to the bathroom or wherever I went and came back, I had bumped the table. And that Voltron fell off the table. And it hit the ground. It hit the floor so hard, I think it cracked the towel that it hit. Told you that thing was heavy. But not only did it crack the towel, it broke. It broke. I kid you not. It went from 60 to 0. Normally you'll go 0 to 60, but it went from 60 to 0, from the best Christmas ever to the worst, in 3.5 seconds. I could not believe that I couldn't get through a whole day without breaking this toy. I was devastated. I cried the whole day. I cried the next day. Well, the next day, the day after Christmas, is widely known. At least it used to be. I don't know if it still is now, but it is considered like National Return Day, because everybody goes and returns gifts that they didn't want, or it was defective, or whatever the case may be. And My mom said it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. Look, we're gonna take it back. So, and we put it back in the box, and we went back to the store. My mom stood in that line because it was a line because everybody was bringing stuff back. She stood in the line and returned it. Now I'm thinking in my mind, okay, I'm about to get another one. Okay, they're gonna replace it, get another one. It's all good. So I'm standing there, I'm all happy and jittery, skipping, skipping in front of the store, looking like a little idiot. And mom, I see that the cashier counts out her money, gives it back to her. Mom puts it in her purse, zips up her purse, throws the scrap back over her shoulder, walks over to me. All right, let's go. I'm like, okay, let's go. I mean, the toy aisle that way, ma. That's what I'm thinking. Nope, we're walking out the store. So I'm still confused because I didn't want to question her, but I had to question her. Like, what's going on? What, they gonna send it? I mean, Amazon wasn't around that time, so I know it wasn't being shipped to us. So I'm like, what's happening, ma? Aren't we gonna get another one? Mom said no and kept walking. Once again, I'm in front of the store, crying. I'm crying in the car. I cried on the way home. Cried when we got to the house. I cried for days because it was there. It was in my hands. I was playing with it, and it was gone. And it reminded me of Ralphie in that movie because I'm like, man, he cried, he begged, he pled for that BB gun, and he finally got it. And everybody kept telling him, "You're gonna shoot your eye out. You're gonna shoot your eye out. You're gonna shoot your eye out." He finally gets the BB gun. He goes outside on Christmas Day, shoots it one time. The BB ricochets off a little metal sign, and guess what? Hits him in the eye. And all of a sudden, he don't want the gun no more. And I'm like, man, that's my life. That was my life. Now, recently, I asked my mother. Yeah, I had to go back because you can tell I'm scarred by this event. And so I went back and I asked my mom. I don't even think it was 2 months ago, maybe, but I brought it up, and my mom said she did ask. She did ask about getting another one, but they were all sold out, they said. So she was like, well, just give me my money back. And gave her money back. And so yeah, that was the Christmas that just tore me up as a human being, man. That was one of those Christmases. Now there was another one. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. I wasn't gonna talk about it, but it's a funny one too. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. But it's funny now. My mom decided one year that she was going to teach her children the true meaning of Christmas, right? And so, we all know we knew what the true meaning of Christmas is. I mean, we went to church every Sunday. Went to Sunday school. We know. I knew. So I didn't really need a real life demonstration on what the true meaning of Christmas was, but my mom felt the need to show us, me, my sisters, and my brother, exactly what it was. That year for Christmas, and I can't think of what year it was, but she decided she wasn't going to put up a tree. She wasn't going to put up any decorations. And and more importantly, wasn't going to buy us any presents, because the true meaning of Christmas had nothing to do with gifts. And so, I mean, aside from the fact that the three wise men brought gifts, I mean, look, I get where she was going with it, but I don't think she had to go to those extremes. but it is what it is. We all do things differently. So, anyways, uh, I thought it was a joke. Now I don't know if my sisters and my brother, but of course they're much older than me. I'm the youngest, and I don't know if they. I guess they knew to take it seriously. I didn't. I'm like, man, mom, nah, mom joking, and mom ain't no practical joker. But she picked a funny time to do it. I guess this was going to be the ultimate prank, because I knew Christmas morning there was going to be some gifts there. There had to be. So I went to bed Christmas Eve. I went to bed early so my mom and my dad could have time to put up the tree real quick and put the presents under the tree, you know. So I went to bed. I got up early Christmas morning, ran to the front room, and it looked the same. It was empty. There was nothing in there but a sofa and a coffee table. So I'm sitting there, baffled. Like, wait, she was serious? No, she was joking. I still was holding on hope. Now, at our church that we was going to, they always did Christmas Day service, early morning. And so I said, okay, we're gonna go to church service. Then when we come back, you know, Dad gonna hurry up and set up everything while we're away. And then when we come back, everything would be Christmassy. So I was hyped up for the first time going to church on Christmas Day, because that was another thing. On Christmas morning, we couldn't open up any gifts till after we went to church. We had to go to church first, and then we came back and opened the gifts. And so I was like, okay, we still going to be in that theme. We went to church, came back from church, Pop sitting there, he watching TV. And there's no gift still. At that moment, reality crept in. Now, this is where I figured I must have been a kind of slow child, which later developed to a slow adult man like I am now. I'm it took me half a day to realize that she wasn't joking. we This year we got nothing that year. Absolutely nothing for Christmas, because she wanted to prove the point of what the true meaning of Christmas truly is. And she succeeded. I know now. I knew then. I knew before then. But hey, what's done is done. I guess she really wanted to prove the point. Now, before y'all start thinking my mom is cruel and unusual, they made up for it later on. I mean, every year after that. It wasn't that bad, but it was bad then, like I said. But now I can sit back and laugh at it, because I get it. You know, I get it. Because we did need that. Honestly, we did need that, because it was all about what you're going to get, what you're going to get. But the true meaning of Christmas is more about love. It's the gift of love. And that was the gift that we got on Christmas Day, at least the day that signifies Christmas. And so that was the point. So I'm telling you the point now. So maybe you don't have to go through what I went through 40, 35 years ago, whatever it was. I don't know. But yeah, my childhood Christmases was great though. It really was. I really have zero complaints other than that. And those were self-inflicted. At least the Voltron Christmas was. That was hard. That was hard. I didn't get over that until a couple of months ago, when I asked my mom when I finally gained the courage to confront my mom about that Christmas, about that Voltron toy. And yeah, it's traumatizing to this day. I still want that. A few years back, I'll say maybe 2-3 years ago, just randomly, I went on eBay to try to see, maybe I could find it somewhere. I couldn't find it, because I was gonna buy it. I was gonna buy it, but I could not find it anywhere. But it is what it is. You know, you win some, you lose some. Yeah, I took a big L that Christmas. Man, boy, I still cannot believe it. I still cannot believe it. how I messed it. It's not the fact that I broke it. It's not the fact that I don't have it because of my carelessness or whatever. It's the fact that I didn't last 24 hours with it. I only think I last 3 hours with that toy. Uh, I cannot believe I did that. I honestly could not believe I did that. And I learned a hard lesson that day. It's something that has traveled with me to this day. I don't leave stuff on the edge of tables. Nothing. I will push it to the middle of the table quick because I do not want nothing to fall off a table or anywhere, any surface. Nah, I don't put anything on the edge of a surface. It freaks me out because I have PTSD from that Christmas. But yeah, man, that was one of those Christmases that will live in infamy. And you know, all those another Christmas story that popped in my head is the Christmas I got the Nintendo. And the Nintendo came with a power pad. If anybody remembers the first generation Nintendos, they had a power pad, and I forgot what game you played on it, but it was a pad you laid down on the ground like a twister pad, but it was a power pad. You step on the little colored numbers and stuff like that. I don't know what game it actually went to because I didn't play it much. And the reason I didn't play it much, I grew up in a house. It was a 2-story house. And my house, my room was upstairs. And my room was directly above my parents' room. So when I was playing the Nintendo and I would lay out the pad and I'll do the stomping and jumping on the pad and all this other stuff, that disturbed my mother who was in her room. So I could not play that game because I was making too much noise with that pad. So I rarely played that pad. And I remember throwing that pad away because it was at my mother's house. I want to say last year for Hurricane Ida, when she was getting work done on her house after the storm and stuff like that, and it was in the attic. It could have been Ida, it could have been something else, but I remember throwing it away recently, and I'm like, man, it still had that pad. Or did we throw it away? I think it's still there. It might still be there. But in any event, yeah, man, I saw it. I'm like, man, it held on to that pad, huh? and it still looked brand new. Why? Because I never got to play it. I never got to play it as often as I would have liked to, because I was on the second floor and didn't have enough sense to move the game downstairs. Well, I couldn't move it downstairs because the TV in the front room, that's where Pop was. Pop, and he watching Westerns all day, every day. So couldn't get off of that TV. Sure couldn't go in my mama room and hook it up to her TV. So the only other option was the TV I had in my room. And yeah, so I just had to play Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers at the time before I got any other games. But yeah, man, those Christmases was awesome. I do remember the joy that I got on Christmas morning, and I appreciate all those days, all those Christmases, and I was truly blessed. I really was, because like I said, we weren't a rich family. We we didn't have money like that, but my parents found a way to make those Christmases special for me and my sisters and brother. And man, it lives on now, because just like my parents weren't the wealthiest people on planet Earth, me and my wife aren't the wealthiest people on planet Earth, but we found a way to make sure our children enjoyed their Christmas. And and that's all the thing. Once you got older and once you had got children, I really got joy out of watching them open gifts. It wasn't about me getting anything. It was about them being happy, or getting something for my wife and making sure she was happy. And I failed on that mission a lot too. Not with the kids, but with the wife. I would be so concentrated on getting the girls something for Christmas, completely disregard my wife. And it wasn't on purpose. It weren't out of malice or anything. Honestly, she never asked for nothing, you know. But then I think back. It's, I can think back when those subliminal. You get what I'm saying? Messages were being thrown out there throughout the year, and I didn't catch it at the time. But then I think back hindsight, and I'm like, oh, she said, oh yeah, she won't. Oh my God, I forgot about, you know. So I take every conversation and I go through it like a fine tooth comb. Lately, it took years. You know, me and my wife been together for well, we've been together for 25, 26 years. We've been married for 23 years. We're about to be 23 years. And now it took, yeah, about 20 something years, 22 years for me to really click and realize, man, I'm going through every word she say like with a fine tooth comb and make sure that I, I get her something that she wants or needs. You know, I make sure I get something that she needs because she wants for nothing. What more could she want? She got me. I mean, so that's the gift that keeps on giving, baby. But anywho's, yeah, man. This year, it's more of a Christmas trip. It's not so much the day of Christmas, you know, with the tree and everything. Now we put the tree up and all that. It's some festive feeling in the house. Everybody's excited, but we're more excited about going on a trip. And so that's our Christmas, and I can't wait to go. I really can't. We going somewhere we never been before. We going supposedly snow, going to rent a cabin up there in the Rockies. So yeah, this is something new for me because I'm a tropical person. So me and cold weather don't mix, but that's what my daughter wanted for her birthday. She wanted to go in the snow. So we're gonna go to the snow. Anywho's, yeah, man, Christmas. And speaking of Christmas, let's jump into this review. Let's jump into this. I mean, classic, man. There's no other way to describe this film but a classic. And it is none other than 1983's A Christmas Story. I remember watching this movie, well, every year because it comes on every year. Especially Christmas Eve. I think it comes on a marathon over and over and over and over again on TNT or TBS, one of those 24 hours of of A Christmas Story. And that's as of late. I think, well, when they started that, like in 2000 maybe, or 98, 99, somewhere up in there. And every year there's a tradition to show it over and over and over again. But, you know, back in the early 80s, it was, you know, it only came on around Christmas time, rightfully so. And I love that movie. I could watch that movie on the 4th of July. I mean, this is a movie that it's just a good movie. It is downright hilarious, more than what it deserves to be. This movie is so simple. You know, it is the most PG of PG movies. I cannot believe it got away with being just downright gut busting funny without being vulgar, without dirty jokes or, you know, stuff like that. This is truly a family film, and it's funny for adults. It's funny for children. It pleases everyone, and that's rare in film. I remember watching this film around the time it came out, and I didn't think that it came out in 1983 around that time. You know, when I first saw it, I thought this was a true 1940s or 50 or maybe 60s comedy, you know, because it had the feel of that era. I believe it was in the 40s. it just felt like a 1940s movie. It, with the tone, the vibe, and of course the production design, the costume design, and everything, everything about it. Just it was just perfectly. It was pure Americana. And so when I found out that the film was only a couple of years old, around the time when I first saw it, I was like, really? that's that's crazy, man. And I, I love it. You never get tired of watching it, even on the little marathon when they run it every hour on the hour, all day on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I, it never gets old to me. It has yet to get old to me. Um, A Christmas Story was directed by Bob Clark, and Bob Clark went on to direct. Well, before this, he directed Black Christmas. Now, you want to talk about night and day of a filmography? It was Black Christmas is a horror movie that came out in 1974, and it's nowhere near this movie. I mean, it's literally apples and oranges. And so he directed this a couple of years later, or maybe the next year, he directed, which a lot of people consider a classic comedy, Porky's, which once again, night and day. Now, you want to talk about a hard R comedy? It is a pure 80s comedy. It is, and he directed that after directing this wholesome, pure Christmas story. It's mind boggling, but that just goes to show his range as a director. That's awesome, man. Because some directors can only direct one thing. They can only go in one direction, and he has shown he can go had shown he can go in different directions, and that's awesome. Now, the film is based off of the semi-fictional anecdotes of Gene Shepard in his book, a 1966 book, In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. And Gene Shepard is also the narrator of this film as the adult Ralphie. So the voice you hear narrating the story is actually the one who created the book. Who this is based off of his childhood, and I thought that's pretty awesome. He also played I believe he also played the Santa Claus at the shopping mall, if I'm not mistaken. I know he had a little cameo in that scene. I don't know if he was the Santa Claus or one of the guys. I can't remember, but the film stars Peter Billingsley as Ralphie, Ian Pirelli as Randy, Melinda Dillon as Mrs. Parker, Dylan McGraw as Mr. Parker, or the old man, and Scott Schultz as Flick. Now, that should have been a dead giveaway for me when I watched this movie and I thought it was a 20-year-old movie. Scott Schultz was the boy in The Toy, starring Richard Pryor. That's the that's the same boy, and that should have been a dead giveaway. But I didn't. I wasn't. Like I said, I was a little stupid kid back then, which turned into a stupid adult. But that's neither here or there. But it was a cool little cast. Peter Billingsley was a revelation. I You rarely saw him in anything else after this, which was a shocker. Now, as of late, you see him a lot in stuff, especially in the MCU. He was in Iron Man. He was in this film sequel, A Christmas Story Christmas, which is on HBO Max, and I must say I have not watched that yet. I might watch it this Christmas, but I haven't watched it yet because I really haven't heard anything good about it. Well, to be honest with you, I haven't heard anything bad about it either. I don't think anybody who has watched it, but I'm gonna give it a watch and see. But anyway, he's more of a producer. He also produced or co-produced Iron Man and uh, uh, other films. I can't think, but him and Vince Vaughn have collaborated on a lot of projects. But back then, as Ralphie, he was awesome. I love uh, Dylan McGraw as the old man. You know, the scene when he's fixing the flat tire and Ralphie spills the lug nuts and he hits him with that fudge. He was like, "Oh, fudge!" And man, once again, disclaimer: I'm a little stupid kid, and I was wondering why his parents was flipping out because he said fudge, and it took years for me to realize that they only said fudge for us. But in actuality, if you go back and you watch his mouth and read his lips, yeah, it was a F word, but it wasn't fudge. So that just adds to the comedy of it. I I promise you, I promise you, I'm smarter than what it seems. But I did not catch it the first couple of times I watched it. I was like, why are they tripping? Why you gotta wash his mouth out with soap? Because he said fudge. It got I didn't say fudge for the longest after that because I was like, man, that's a curse word. I didn't ever say it, you know. And yeah, man, the with Flick getting his tongue stuck on a pole, uh, the bully. Oh man, what's his name? Scott Farquharson or Farkas or Scud. I can't. Yeah, Scud. That was hilarious when Ralphie finally unleashed on him. I mean, this movie is just a beautiful, beautiful Christmas movie. Perfectly. I mean, it captures the season with the snow, with the going to the malls, with the Santa at the mall, you know, the dad getting he won that prize and it was a lamp, but it was shaped like a woman's leg. And, and oh my god! And when when his wife was cleaning and broke it, allegedly, she broke it, and the man did a whole burial for that lamp. Look, I love this movie. This is a movie. What makes this movie a classic, it doesn't matter how old it is, how many times you've seen it, you enjoy it each and every time you watch it. And this is clearly one of those films for me. A Christmas Story from 1983 gets a letter grade of an A plus. A beautifully made Christmas story for Christmas. And when I give it an A plus, I'm grading it as a Christmas movie. Now, as a movie as a whole, it's not the greatest movie of all time. It's not gonna set the world on fire or change how films are seen. It didn't do any of that. But in the context of Christmas, this was perfect, and it gets an A plus. I absolutely love this film. Can't wait to watch it this Christmas. You're probably not even gonna have a choice because it's gonna be running round the clock on one of those stations. Either it's TNT or TBS. I don't know which one. Probably both. Who knows? But I can't wait to watch it. One of the 50 times is gonna come on Christmas weekend. Everybody, how are you feel this Christmas? Are you excited? Have you finished everything? I hope so, because at the time of this release, you only have another day. So I will hope and pray you got all your Christmas shopping out the way. You got everything set. Got all starting your cooking regimens for the family. I hope everybody enjoy it. I do plan to enjoy it. I'm finally getting excited for this year. You know, getting into the Christmas spirit, as you will. I don't know what it was this year. I wasn't in a bad mood, or I wasn't in a dark place or anything, or depressed or nothing like that. It was just like it's another day, you know. It was nothing super excited, nothing to be super excited about. And this is one of the rare years I can actually do some shopping. You know, I wasn't broke. I had a couple of bucks to spend, but nobody really asked for nothing. And I asked on multiple occasions, uh, do anybody want anything? But I did get some. I'm not gonna say it here, of course, but I did get them something this year. So you know, so they won't put me in the category of their momo, what their grandmother did to me. But I did get some gifts this year. I'm pretty sure. I guarantee you they like it because they ain't even asked for it. But I know it's something they want. I can't wait to tell y'all what I got them. It's gonna be uh, I don't know. I'm expecting tears. If I don't get tears when they open it up, I'm gonna cry because my main goal when I got this was to make them cry, and I'm more than certain they're gonna cry because they're not going to see it coming. Because I didn't either. It just popped up. It was like a revelation one day. Like, oh, get them this. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get them that. So I'm excited for that. Like I said, you get a certain age, it's not about what you get, it's about what you give, and what you give making somebody's day light up. And that's my gift. So but you shouldn't just do that for Christmas. Here I'm gonna start preaching to y'all. You shouldn't just do this for Christmas now. You should do this every day. You should want to give every day. You should want to spread joy every day. Don't just wait till Christmas time. You know, you're an angel in the month of December, but for the other 11 months of the year, you're a Scrooge or a Grinch. You know, so don't be like that every day. You don't have to break your back and empty your bank account and give gifts or money or stuff like that. Just give a hello, give a how you doing. Give and I love you, and that's all it. That's all you need to give. That can make somebody's day. I'm gonna tell this story and we're gonna get up out of here. One day, this was a few years ago. I was stressed out, man. I was at work and that work was driving me up the wall like it normally does, and I was just to my wits end this particular day. I felt like fire was coming was on the top of my head, and I was walked into the store like at lunchtime or something, or I went to the store to grab me or something to snack on. And while walking into the store, this woman was walking out, and I guess she could see it on my face, and I don't know what it was, but she just like kind of grabbed me by the arm, but not aggressively. She kind of just like touched my arm and stopped me, and she was like, "You have a blessed day here." And I said, "Oh, I will. You too." And she walked off, and I walked into the store, and I just felt like a weight was lifted off of me. It was a weird feeling, and I said, "Oh man, I don't know what it was just a weird feeling." So I turned back around and I went outside to see who she was, and I looked around, and the woman was gone. It's like she just vanished. I'm looking, and this was a big park. The parking lot was kind of empty. It wasn't like it was full of cars or anything. And I'm looking around. I went around the other side of the store. Maybe she walked off that way. I'm like, no, I don't see where this woman went. It was like an angel that came and knew that I was about to blow a gasket, and came down just to tell me to relax. It just to give me that encouragement throughout the day. And that was the greatest gift I ever received from anybody, because I can't put into words how I was feeling before then. I'm trying, but I can't, because it was rage. It was pure rage. And this woman, she just stopped me and said, you know, you have a blessed day. And it just that. And that just lifted it off of me. And that was one of the greatest gifts I ever received. And it was just a random Tuesday or whatever, you know. But yeah, man, just be uh uh in the gift giving mood throughout the year. And the example I used, a gift does not have to be purchased in the store. It can come from your heart. Anyways, everybody, hope you all enjoy your Christmas. You can contact the show by emailing the show kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on Twitter at KB Radio Network. Don't forget about the 5 stars and reviews. Since this is the season of giving, and like I said, you don't have to come out your pockets, here's an easy way to give back to this show. Give the 5 stars and reviews. It helps the show out tremendously. Also, sharing the show helps the show out tremendously. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this quasi Christmas special today, as I told my Christmas stories and we reviewed a Christmas story. And I thank you all for joining me. Thank you for continuing to support the show. I love you all. This is my gift to you. I give gifts every week here on the KB Radio Network, and these are my gifts to you, and I love you. When I say that at the end of every show, that's just not a signed off. That is the truth. I love you. Continue to love one another, and until we speak again, you all be blessed. Merry Christmas.